everyone, you're watching Market Fatafat on ET Now, your crisp and comprehensive wrap of all the stocks and the big movers and shakers that you need to watch out for in trade today. The market's looking very, very weak, but that's something that's in line with what we've been witnessing across the globe. Though, mind you, there has been quite a recovery from the day's low. The Sensex, in fact, has managed to prop up a good 170 points. The Nifty too has reclaimed 10,550. But this is all about stocks, and we have our team of researchers standing by with the top stocks for today. And the very first stock that we want to flag off is HUL. Well, the company currently is facing an anti-profiteering levy for not passing on GST benefits. This fine is said to be for 223 crore rupees. The GST Anti-Profiteering Authority has said that HUL has allegedly profiteered to the extent of 383 crore rupees since the GST rate cut back in November 2017. Do remember that there was a rejig wherein there was a lot of there were products on which the taxes had been cut, whether from 28 to 18% or 18 to 12%. Now, the order indicates vigilance on the part of the authorities, the GST authorities, in ensuring that the benefits of the tax cuts are passed on to the consumers. At this point of time, this is something that may be putting some pressure on HUL in today's trading session. Let's move on to the next stock, and we have with us Kunal Bothra. Kunal, Siemens today is a big buzzer. It's one of the top Nifty 500 losers. What is your strategy here?
So yeah, I think it's one of the top gainers, in the F&O side, or it's become trying to, show a good, amount of strength. But the key for the chart patterns for Siemens is not just what's happening today, but what transpired. I think, a couple of months back, there was a big surge in volumes for the stock price. That selling pressure which started, I think, a couple of years back, that selling pressure had halted, and then you see a sudden reversal of sorts. The stock is now trading above its 200 DMA. So put into place all of these factors, I think it indicates that the stock is restarting a new medium-term uptrend and a long-term uptrend from current levels, and I believe it's a good buy on dips opportunity even at current levels. 1100 to 1150 is where I would place the targets for Siemens on a positional basis, and stop loss could be kept closer to 950.
I just stand corrected over there. It's Siemens. I was thinking about Symphony, of course, but yeah, Siemens. That one's higher by 2.9%. So decent up move seen today in trade. Karunya Rao as well joins in on the show. And Karunya, let's talk about Petronet LNG. What are reports saying over here?
Well, right now it is definitely a report-based story, and it says that Petronet is planning to invest close to 2,100 crores in order to expand their capacity at the Dahej plant, which is located in Gujarat. The capacity expansion that they're targeting is about 20 million tons per annum from the current level of 15 million tons per annum. And of the total 2,100 crore, 1,300 odd will be spent to expand the Dahej terminal, while 800 crores will be spent on building LNG storage tanks. This is, of course, as per sources, the information that we're picking up right now. An investment proposal for the expansion at Dahej has already been submitted to the Gujarat Maritime Board, and they are awaiting some clarity and some confirmations on the same.
Alright, that's Petronet LNG for you. A decent recovery from the lows. Pranay Cement stocks have been a bust for the last couple of days, but JK Cement, there seems to be some news today.
Yes, the QIB for about 600 crore capacity expansion is underway, and the floor price for that has been set at about 732 rupees and 40 paisa a piece. In 2 days' time, the board will be meeting to announce the issue price, and it's one of the steadier companies when it comes to realizations, price performance, and also the stocks amongst players.
Alright, JK Cement down by 1/3%. It's a bit quiet, but let's see if the QIP news what the result of the same is on, and the impact of the same is on the stock price. Let's talk about Arvind then in stock number 5. Siddharth Bhamre as well joins us on the show now. Siddharth, what is your observation in the way the stock price is moving?
Well, observations are negative here, Mubina, and we have seen that stock has given up some of the important support levels. 98 was acting as a good support. That support level is gone. We're seeing high built-up in futures segment, one of the names highest built-up in F&O segment in today's trading session. And if support is going and if build-up is taking place, needless to mention that these are short positions.
Alright, that's the view coming in when it comes to and Arvind Limited. It's down by 2.6%, hovering near the day's low. Alright, let's also introduce Vikas Jain, Senior Research Analyst of Reliance Securities on the show. Hi Vikas, Hero Moto was a very active stock. We saw that massive decline coming back to Goldman Sachs downgrade. What is it that we are seeing today?
Well, if you look at the stock faced a lot of resistance near to those 33.20, 33.30 levels. We have been running a sell call and we continue to believe the stock would continue to face more pressure. We believe the stock can tend further near to down 3050 or to 3100 odd levels in the coming few sessions.
Okay, so Vikas is a bit circumspect on the way the stock price could move based on the technicals. Vedanta, that's the next stock we want to flag off. Remember that we have been seeing risk of sentiment across the world, sell-off across asset classes, and this is something that has spurred some selling coming by, even in base metals. Though, mind you, not to the extent that we have seen across other asset classes, but yeah, base metals too have shown significant weakness. But I think for Vedanta, the other big cue that they're going to pick up is the fact that Brent prices too have declined more than 6% on Monday's trading session. So it brings into question the profitability once again of Vedanta's oil and gas segment, though at this point of time their break even is at about $40 per barrel. Nevertheless, as Brent approaches that level, we are going to see some more red on the screen, and of course questions on the profitability of the oil and gas segment of Vedanta. The stock continues to decline. The metal index too once again has extended its losing streak in trade. Pranay, let's talk about, or rather Karanya, let's talk about Cipla, a US FDA nod.
That's right. It's for a drug that's called Nevirapine. It's an oral drug which is used to prevent HIV from multiplying in the patient's body. And Cipla, do remember, is the third player to get the nod on the same. Apart from that, there's also an upgrade that has poured in for the company. It's from HDFC Securities. They've upgraded the stock to a buy, giving a target price of 605 rupees. What they essentially are saying is that despite the headwinds, despite the challenges that the company has been facing, the management is still very confident of achieving at least 10% revenue CAGR and 18 to 20% of EBITDA margins over the next 2 years, owing to the US, India and South America markets. The injectable and inhaler launches in the US will also be key triggers according to HDFC going forward for Cipla.
Okay, drug approval, stock is a bit circumspect, however, it's down by 1.4%. Let's talk about Brigade Enterprises then, and Pranay, this one's that spot of green in a weak market.
Well, yes, Motilal Oswal has initiated coverage on the stock with a buy rating and a target price of about 282. They see that the residential real estate market where Brigade is present will see a recovery, and therefore affordable housing over there is a good opportunity. Not just that, the company is scaling up its leasing portfolio, and that tactical shift should lead to better earnings trajectory going forward. The stake sale in hotel portfolio is also something that can be used to fund future capex, so there is good control on the leverage of the company.
And it's 5.4% higher for Brigade Enterprises. So that, let's talk about CEAT Limited. What are you observing in the way the stock price is moving today?
Well, not good. Third consecutive day of correction in C8, and yes, even markets have corrected, but the kind of correction C8 is showing, the kind of volumes which are getting added in cash market clearly suggest, Mubina, that the medium-term trend or short-term trend which was upward for the stock has changed for the worst, and we are seeing a substantial amount of correction. The way stock prices have panned out doesn't seem that the correction is over.
Okay, that's CEAT. Third consecutive day of a decline witnessed in the tire major. ABFRL, meantime, Kunal, we've seen a lot of pricing action in this stock. What are you, what would you recommend as a strategy here?
So in a market which is now getting into the first or the second phase of volatility, there are many stocks which are still trading at the upper end of their trading bands, and I'm talking of weekly and the monthly charts. ABFRL, Aditya Birla Fashion, I think is one of them. It's a mid-cap stock. The stock has been trading steadily on the back of some heavy volumes, and is now trading comfortably above its 200 in the 50 DMA as well. On the weekly and the monthly charts, it's also formed a rounding bottom kind of a pattern, and I think the fact that the stock is now nearing a breakout on the upper end of the resistance band on long-term charts indicates that the trend could continue for ABFRL, which is why I would suggest a buy on the stock at current levels as well. 225 could be a positional target, and the stop loss could be kept at 200.
And it's 1.2% higher for an Aditya Birla Fashion despite the weakness in the market. The next stock is IOC, and of course we have to flag off OMCs given the fact that Brent has on an intraday basis at least breached $50 per barrel. 49.93 in fact is where it had touched a July 2017 low. So OMCs naturally ever since that fall in Brent have been posting quite a decent rebound, and today is no exception. So mind you, the stock price is off the day's high now at 135 odd rupees. Karanya, let's talk about JB Chemicals then, another note over here as well.
That's right. It might be, declining in trade, but clearly a brokerage house like Anand Rathi is giving it a thumbs up. They've initiated coverage on the stock with a buy rating. Target has been pegged at 416 rupees, and they're saying that there are multiple triggers in place. The valuations are favorable. Growth story looks fairly strong. Domestic market is something that the company has been focusing on, which will be supported by improving field force productivity and emphasis on other key markets like South Africa and the United States.
Okay, that's of course Jamie Chemicals for you. Very quickly, Pranay, Tata Motors, a statement coming out from the company. What's the stock impact?
Well, what they're saying is that JLR will continue to face global headwinds, but there is no truth to the rumors that they're looking to divest stake in JLR. Also, the management wrote to the British Prime Minister reiterating their confidence and commitment to the long-term growth plans and investment, just seeking some clarity on Brexit. But the stock is weak, down by 2% in trade today.
All right, and moving on from Tata Motors, stock number 15, Siddharth Jet Airways once again getting a leg up on account of the fall in crude.
Well, yes, that's something which, has an inverse correlation, and OMCs are not showing that kind of correlation of late. So aviation space is making most out of it. Last time, Mubina, there was a week back we spoke about Indigo. We preferred Indigo because Jet Airways was going through problems. Jet Airways was in F&O ban. Today, Jet Airways is out of F&O ban. It has, shown signs of, forming a stable support around this 235, 240 odd mark. And today, after being out of F&O ban, we are seeing volumes high in both the segments, and this seemed to be not just a one-day trend. That's what statistics are indicating.
Okay, that's Jet Airways for you. Yeah, the impact that we are seeing on OMCs is not as much as we are seeing on aviation of the fall in crude, at least of late. We'll take a very short break, but come right back. We'll continue with the countdown on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET Now. Our team of researchers as well as Vikas Jain is standing by to give you a heads up on the top stocks that are buzzing. And Vikas, Jubilant Food, the sell-off has not been restricted today. What would be a strategy you would recommend?
Well, if you look at the stock, has been in consistent sell-off, and we believe the stock would continue to remain under pressure because it has broken important averages last week, and we believe the stock would test further down to near to 1020, 1030 odd levels.
And lower at the day's low, near the day's low at least as we speak. Shriram, this group should see some excitement today in trade. This after the realty arm of the group, Shriram Properties, has decided to file for an IPO. We're looking at a fresh issue of 250 crore rupees, and also of course a part OFS. Some existing investors do want to exit or partially reduce their stake in Shriram Properties. So watch out for Shriram Transport, etc. All of them should be a buzz on the back of that news. Meantime, Karnia, Gayatri Projects as well is seeing some pricing action. What is the news here?
Well, the reason is a bulk deal that took place on Monday before right after the market closed. It was discovered that Kavi Global Opportunity Master Fund has bought nearly 31 lakh shares of the company. This is at a price point of 187.5. The seller in this transaction is Goldman Sachs Singapore, and that's a transaction that's keeping the stock in focus today.
All right, moving on. Pranay, why are you highlighting Suprajit Engineering?
Well, the management has said that second half of the year in exchange filing will be better than the first half. Also, the consolidation that we are seeing in the auto component space, that is now going to gather pace. Company is progressing well on its own expansion plans and is also open to strategic asset purchases and acquisition. In fact, it is seeing very good traction not just in the domestic lighting and cable segment, but also in exports, and therefore believes that its double-digit growth will continue going ahead.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on Suprajit Engineering. It's just down by about 0.2%. Siddharth, Zee Entertainment, quite an up move despite the weakness in the markets.
Well, that stock has been going through some tough and challenging time despite market was stable or when market was moving higher. Now what has happened in today's trading session, that there is a bullish engulfing pattern, which is a candlestick, which is a positive candlestick pattern which is being formed, which augurs well. It has happened near to the support which is around 430, So these two factors are positive for the stock. If you remember, there was a broking firm which came out with a negative recommendation or focused on challenges which Zee would go through. But I think that is behind us, and we are seeing some decent price action.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on Zee Entertainment, 3% higher after very turbulent last week. Kunal, let's talk about REC again. Very abuzz in trade off late.
So yes, Mubina, and the price action has been more consistent for REC Limited. The volumes have inched up high. In fact, on Monday, the stock clocked almost at 5-day or a 7-day high volume, and the prices also moved back above its 200 DMA. So overall, the price pattern indicates that there is a bottom formation process which is going on for REC Limited over the medium to longer term charts, and I believe that with this consistent attempt towards breaking resistances, the stock should be a very good buy at current levels as well. 120 as an immediate target and stop loss 110.
10 a.m. Okay, Kunal Bothra's view on REC, he is recommending a buy. The stock price at this point of time is only higher by 0.4%. Very quickly moving on, crude beneficiaries continue to be on our radar. Asian Paints, remember 30% of the raw materials that Asian Paints and these paint companies consume depends on crude and its derivatives. So any crack in crude prices would definitely bode well for the likes of an Asian Paints. The stock price, however, is only higher by about 0.25%. Currently, Alembic Pharma here as well, there's been a drug approval.
Yes, they've got a tentative US FDA nod. This is for a drug called pregabalin. It's essentially used to treat epilepsy, neuropathic pain, generalized anxiety disorder as well. So on back of the tentative nod is why the stock was in focus today. However, it's not reacting too much to the news as of now, down 0.6%.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on Alembic Pharma. It's a bit quietish today in trade. Pranay, Macquarie has an optimistic note on ITC.
Actually, they've also raised the target by about 3% on the counter. What they believe is that since the company has started showing signs of winning back market share in cigarettes, this will lead to volume recovery and earnings improvement. Also, they see that there is scope for re-rating on the counter, but they're just waiting for margin expansion in FMCG business. If that starts to happen, then they see an upside of more than 30% on this counter.
And it's 0.6% higher for an ITC. Siddharth, why are you flagging off an Adani port?
Those volumes are high, Mubina. No major price action as such, but the stock is showing very high equity volumes, cash volumes I mean. And it's moving around its 200 DMA. So this is not a weak stock in a market which is showing some weakness in a market where some of the mid-caps are cracking. That's the reason for highlighting this stock.
It's 0.7% higher for Adani Ports at 363 rupees. Vikas, we're seeing movement coming by in Godfrey Phillips as well. What do you think will be the trend from here on?
Well, if you look at the stock has broken critical support levels, but again on the downside near to 730, 740, the stock has a good amount of support. So we believe from those 730 odd levels, the stock would see some amount of bounce back. We have seen a huge amount of sell-off in the past few days, so 730 should be hold on from the current levels, and we should see some amount of bounce back to around 810 to 820 odd.
All right, 4% lower, and this one is one of the top gay losers on the Nifty 500. Let's talk about SRF Limited meantime, and it's not, again, the selling over here as well is not just in today's trading session. For the last 3 days, we have seen the stock fall, and it's fallen more than 15% during this period. Today, it's moved below all the key daily moving averages, and hence we're flagging this one off. Karnia Westlife has some news. What is the news with respect to its bottom line?
Well, it's with respect to McDonald India's performance, Mubina. The company, the brand rather, has, it entered India more than 2 decades ago, and finally they've turned profitable. This time around, they posted a net profit of 65 odd lakh rupees versus a net loss of 305 crores on a year-on-year basis. This is the figure for profit for the year FY18. Do remember that. They have 2 partners. One is in the north and east business, as you know, while Westlife manages their western and southern part of the business, and that's the reason why it continues to be in focus on back of this big news for McDonald's India.
All right, and finally moving on, Pranay, Nagarjuna Fertilizers, a stock we don't talk about very often. What's the news?
Yes, the company which had stopped urea production some time ago at its Kakinada plant has now resumed that, even as it is in the process of its long-term debt resolution with the lenders. It's been quite a long negotiation, but there are some positive turns that we are seeing, and therefore the counter is up in trade today.
Siddharth, Sun TV?
Well, yes, media stocks are buzzing, and Sun TV is also one of the names which is doing pretty okay for itself. We have seen decent built-up taking place. We did see, some sort of correction happening in previous trading session. Today we are seeing 2.5% correction, but intraday bounce back has been very strong. Stock opened, gap down, and then there was a built-up. I'm not saying the built-up is long or short, but one has to take note of that 23-24% built up when rollovers are more or less done in Sun TV. 2.5% price correction did not necessarily mean that these are short positions.
All right, but with that, we're completely out of time and we've wrapped it up. 30 stocks in 30 minutes. Thanks to all of you for joining in. Vikas, to you as well for giving our viewers the technical strategies. Come back at 1:30 for a brand new version, but until then, stay tuned for Markets at Noon.